This video is designed to provide our FSAs with best practices for optimizing the effectiveness of the Diamabrush polishing system. Following these best practices should significantly improve the brush's effectiveness and result in a cleaner, shinier floor for your store. This video will cover 5 main topics: daily preparation, machine settings, daily polishing, starting grit, and blade replacement. Floor preparation. For preparation prior to starting the Diamabrush system, the FSA should visually inspect the entire floor to be aware of items like rack bolts or other protrusions that might harm the brush blades during use. Any personal protection equipment questions should be directed to your specific loss prevention manager, the FSA hotline, or the FSA mailbox. Additionally, sweep and remove any large debris that might be left on the floor that could potentially cause damage to the cleaning machine or the Diamabrush tools. Brush care and installation. Once brush blades are received at the store and prior to initial use, Diamabrush recommends soaking them in water at room temperature for 72 hours to ensure brush blades are flexible and not brittle, which may lead to blade breakage. Once complete, install the blades to the brush block. See the blade replacement chapter for detailed instructions. Make sure the scrub head is raised to its up position, line up the brush attachment or clutch plate with the drive motor, and lift the Diamabrush into the drive hub. Check to make sure the brushes are securely mounted on the brush drive hub. Finally, ensure all access doors, shrouds, and skirts are properly latched and secured before operating the machine. Machine inspection. Check to ensure the batteries are fully charged. Check the battery water levels, cables, and connections. For additional information, reference the battery watering video located under the floor scrubbing machines section of the FSA resource site for directions on how to safely water the batteries. Examine the squeegee, checking for nicks or tears, and make sure it is clean and pliable. And finally, make sure the recovery and solution tanks on your machine are in good working order. Operators should target driving the cleaning machine at a pace of 1 to 3 miles per hour. Always make sure the machine is in motion when the brushes are spinning. Never run the brushes when the machine is standing still. FSAs should be operating the floor scrubber with the brush down pressure set at its maximum level. The water setting should be set at medium level. Keep the scrubber's vacuum running at all times to ensure you are picking up the water left on the floor to avoid potential slip hazards. Daily polishing. It is important to separate the polishing process into 2 phases. Phase 1, restoration, and Phase 2, maintenance. Restoration phase. During the restoration phase, you will be restoring your floor from a dull, dirty floor to a clean, shiny finish. Using your current grit, do 20 passes. Then progress to the next grit and complete another 20 passes. Each day, operators should select one individual aisle or section of the raceway to focus on. To thoroughly restore an aisle, operators will need to make 20 very slow passes on the aisle with the appropriate starting grit. Completing 20 passes should take 1 to 1.5 hours. Once the individual aisle is completed, the remaining cleaning time should be spent cleaning other areas of the store if time permits. The following day, the operator should move to another individual aisle to complete 20 restoration passes. This process should be repeated until each aisle in the store has been polished using this approach. On average, stores have between 60 and 80 aisles, so completing a grit using this focused approach should take approximately 90 days. After focusing on each individual aisle with your current grit, you will then be ready to move on to the next grit and repeat the focusing process on all aisles throughout the store. During the restoration phase, it is beneficial to map out the entire store and set up a daily schedule that tracks the aisles that have been restored. When focusing on longer, wider aisles, such as raceways, restore small sections at a time. The small section should be no larger than 900 square feet. These aisles are much larger than the individual side aisles and will take multiple days to complete. During the restoration phase, always remember to routinely clean aisles that have already been restored to maintain their polish. Taking this focused approach to polishing the store will result in a polished floor more quickly and more evenly. This shows the transformation of 20 passes with the 1000 grit, followed by 20 passes with the 2000 grit. Maintenance phase. Once you have successfully focused on every aisle throughout the store with all the necessary grits, you are now ready for the maintenance phase. During the maintenance phase, the operator will use the entire 2-hour cleaning time. To clean the store with the Diamabrush tools, the recommended daily schedule is as follows. The FSA should clean for 2 hours per day, including raceways, building materials, and lumber aisles every day. Side aisles or individual departments twice a week. If areas that receive excessive traffic begin to dull, simply make a few extra passes to restore the shine. With continued daily use during the maintenance phase, the floor's polish will be maintained indefinitely. Starting grit. Because each concrete floor is unique and different, determining the appropriate starting grit is the most important part of successfully polishing your floors. There are 2 simple ways to determine the correct starting grit. Number 1, if the blades wear out in less than 40 hours using the focused approach, your floor is too rough and you will need to drop down in grits. The second way, if your blades are continuing to wear out using the focused approach prior to 40 hours of wear, please contact the Diamabrush Technical Service Hotline for assistance. Choose an aisle in the store that appears to be the roughest or most dull. Always use maximum down pressure. Always use the medium water setting. Using grit you currently have, focus on the aisle, making 20 very slow passes. After focusing, the resulting area should appear evenly clean and shiny. This will indicate that you are on the correct grit. If after focusing the area appears blotchy with a mix of dark spots and light spots, you will need to drop down in grits. If you have made 20 very slow passes using the 400 grit brush and your floor is still uneven, please contact the Diamabrush hotline for assistance. Blade replacement. Tracking the blade life is a critical part of the polishing process. A blade is considered worn if there is no longer color or grit remaining on the blade. It is extremely important not to run the Diamabrush blades past the colored portion, as you could potentially cause damage to your machine. To avoid this critical issue, make sure you are checking the Diamabrush tools at least once a week to assess the remaining blade life. If the blades look to have approximately 1/4 inch or less of the colored portion remaining, it is time to reorder blades. Remember to soak the replacement polymer blades in water for 72 hours prior to use to ensure the blades are flexible and not brittle. After soaking these blades for the first time, they will not need to be soaked again. Using a number 3 Phillips head screwdriver, unscrew the 4 screws on the black blade retainers, remove and dispose of the worn out blades. Insert the new blade in each individual blade retainer quadrant with the flared edge pointing away, outward, through the slots in the retainer. Failure to properly install the blades will prematurely wear out the blade. Reinsert and tighten the 4 screws to ensure the blade retainers are tightly fit to the brush block. Then reinstall the brushes to the machine. Blade reorder. Blade replacement kits can be ordered through Spend Management. Please refer to the Diamabrush polishing process document on the FSA resource site for the specific directions on ordering replacement sets of blades. Questions or concerns? If you have any questions or concerns on this program, please contact your regional facilities manager, the FSA hotline, or email fsahelp@lowes.com, or contact the Diamabrush hotline at 1-855-DI-BRUSH for assistance.